Good morning, traders. Welcome to Beyond Profile. Today is Wednesday, and it's July 27th. We are in the middle of the week here with just a few days left in the month, and we have a durable goods order coming out this morning. The markets are a little bit lower. We're actually in the pocket here of the next area that we were speaking of yesterday, 25s to 15s. We've broken now inside of that area. You have this level here to here. And we're trading currently at 23. So we're trading pre-market here 23 area, which is right just below that threshold here. And again, you got a low volume pocket 20s, and then the ultimate one would be back to the 15s here, as this could auction back to this level. So this little minor area here is actually 21s to 23s. You've got about a 2-point value area right there. If we take and scrunch this up just a bit, that's a volume area. This is the unfair low. Like I said, 20s would be a low volume pocket that we could slide into there and then bounce back up to. We don't have to go all the way down to the 15s. A cycle down to the 15s would be in order only because of the failure at the monthly yesterday, late in the day, 1335s. You have the two major volume nodes, this one here and this one here. Those are the only two that we have. 20-point spread between those two, looking at it on the daily time frame. So this morning, with the number coming out, we're actually making new lows here in the markets, coming into the number here within about 15-20 minutes. Watch to see how they respond at this number. I mean, they've been selling all night here. We saw some earnings came out last night. Some of the news in the NASDAQ pushing us a little bit lower here. We're still holding up on the NAS fairly well, 2416s here, retesting the lows from overnight. So that one's still showing relative strength even early on in this morning. So a couple areas here we need to focus in on. First one, obviously, this 22 area. This low volume 20s, and then obviously the 15s down here, which would be a complete rotation from really earlier in the week from the 40s, the unfair highs, down to the unfair low territory, which would be 14, 15 area. Keep in mind it is end of month, so we have to be cognizant of end of month markups and things like that. So I'm kind of looking at this morning, if they sell it off into these areas, where can we go ahead and look for a long trade to take the bounce if we get the setup. All right, it's been a little bit of a challenge again this week. Markets have been moving nicely actually in the overnight session, the Globex session, just to show that, again, the markets are more worldwide, global, if you will, and it has nothing to do with just our regular session. You've got to pay attention to what's going on overnight. So a lot of good things, again, trading in the overnight. Last night was pretty quiet, though. We were in about a 4 or 5 point range in the S&P, which is, again, that's very quiet and narrow for it. So this morning, pretty cut, dry. We're going to wait for the number. Once the number comes out, we see where we're at. We get demand stepping in at one of these levels of key reference here. We'll look to play the swing back to the top side and ultimately back to that 40.75. We still have this gap to fill up here. Even though this tail came into that body, it still left the gap open. If you really dissect it, I think we were shy by a couple ticks in that gap up there. And then ultimately still looking for, if the markets hold here, what we're looking for is still a retest of back up to this 50 area here, this minor support resistance level here, 51s, and then above that obviously would go back to the highs of the year at 1360. So there could be anywhere from a 30 to 40 point move back in here to go back even to the highs of the year. All right. So keep your powder dry, wait for your right entry, and then when it does fire, execute, and make sure that the risk reward there is in your trade. Have a good trading day, everyone. We'll see you in the room.